And we are live. So, this is podcast number 2. I have the one and only Rock City Roller. How
I
you
hope
doing?
I'm the only. It'd be weird if there was another one.
There's a clone. So, little introduction to him. He used to stream on Mixer, although he did switch over to Twitch, and he's a big Destiny fan. I've never really got into Destiny too much, but on top of that, he does podcasts. He does these really cool skateboarding video things. What game is that on?
It's a game called Skater XL on Steam. So I used to be really big into the like skate series, and I was pretty big into the community there. So I had a friend reach out not too long ago and say, "Hey, there's this new game this company's working on. They asked me to help test it. Do you want to help test it too?" So I started playing early builds before it came out on Steam, and it went into early access earlier this year. So I've been playing a bunch of it. The modding community's blown up for it. It's been super fun.
Yeah, I as a kid I used to skateboard a lot. So that being said, I saw your videos. I think it was predominantly on Instagram, but all the skate videos, I'm like, hey, man, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
the
dope. Like somebody like so the game comes with like a very basic map of the LA courthouse. But the modding community has taken over and these dudes are building like 3D environments in Blender. And then somebody even made a mod that you can use a replay editor and set your cameras. So it's like you can pretty much film it just like you would, real life skateboarding, and kind of gives us the creative freedom to do some pretty cool shit.
Yeah, that's something I might look into getting. I remember back in high school, so this was like 4, 5, 6 years ago, whatever.
Yep.
And there's this phone game where you would skateboard, but you would use like your fingers and stuff, and
Yeah.
like they released a bunch of maps and different stuff, but like it was like playing with a tech deck.
Tech Deck.
Yeah,
It was that Skater?
it might have been, but
So
like
so the dudes that make Skater XL are Easy Day Studios.
uh
And their first game was Skater on the mobile phone.
oh
And
really?
it was kind of that same thing, like two finger control, kind of like playing with a tech deck, but they put out all of these like real life, spots that you could go and skate, on your phone. And that got really successful. They did pretty well on that, and they were like, "Hey, let's make an actual game." And they actually hooked up with somebody that was in the community for Skate 3 way back in the day that had started like a rough prototype, like garage band type startup of a skateboarding game.
Yeah.
And they developed it into something, in my opinion, really special.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely I still have that on my phone actually. My old phone. I still have that
Yeah.
game. That's something I've been wanting to try out though. What was it? I think it was last year. I don't think it was this year. It was last year. They released like a trailer for the skateboarding game. It was basically the new Skate, but it's not Skate.
Yeah. Session.
Session.
Yeah.
What?
I actually kickstarted that. That game is probably one of the games that got me into streaming. Because I kickstarted that when I found out about it.
Uh-huh.
They sent us early builds, and I'm like, well, hey, I can get more people to know about this game if I start streaming it. And I started on Twitch streaming Session around November of 2017, and I did that for a little while, and that's how I actually made affiliate on Twitch way back in the day. And but that game kind of took a little turn. The development didn't go the way I really wanted it to, and I
Uh-huh.
started getting my hands on Skater, and Skater was a lot more along the lines of what I was looking for in a skateboarding game. So
Yeah. So is Session still like it's not released yet, is it?
no, actually, there was some news going out. It was funny the timing. Session released an Instagram post on like Thursday or sometime,
Uh-huh.
announcing that they were coming to early access on Xbox later this year. There's pros in like October.
Huh.
And on the same day, the Skater XL devs were making almost the exact same announcement that they were also coming to Xbox early access at some point later this year.
Hmm.
So both these games are going to be on console pretty soon, which I think is going to be a big explosion for them.
Exciting stuff. If I honestly, the skateboarding game, I feel like if I had to choose what platform I would want it on, I think it would be the Nintendo Switch.
That'd be dope. Be able to take it with you.
Yeah, that's like the best thing about the Switch is that I could just take it with me, and like it's just more accessible.
Yeah. I don't do like a ton of like mobile gaming. Like even on my phone I don't do a lot. Because typically like if I'm not at work and I'm not in the office streaming, like I'm hanging out with my kid and my family and playing with them. So I don't I've hemmed and hawed about getting a Switch because Splatoon looks like a really fun game. I've watched some people play that.
Hmm.
And then obviously Breath of the Wild was pretty dope. But
Yeah,
yeah, I just don't like I can't justify it when I would end up just being another like home console for me.
yeah. I mean, I I take mine to parties and stuff, and stuff like that. But what was I gonna say? The Nintendo Switch is kind of weird because like it has games, but at the same time, it kind of feels like it doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, because all of the games that I do play on it are just like different versions of games I've played since I was a kid. So like,
Right.
and like the new Zelda, everyone praises, the new Zelda Breath of the Wild, but I don't know, like I had a hard time getting into it because it honestly just feels like super lifeless to me, like very empty. It just throws you in there and like gives you next to no guidance, like
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just a little bit less lively than other ones like Twilight Princess.
I get that. I mean, I think Zelda the games and to some extent, and I didn't play Twilight Princess, so this would have been the first Zelda game that I had played since probably the N64 days.
Oh man, Ocarina
Um
of Time is so good though.
Ocarina is still like one of my favorite Zelda games of all time. Um but I mean, granted I was playing like an emulated PC version that was at like 4K 60. So that probably had a little bit of something to do with my enjoyment of Breath of the Wild. But
Uh-huh.
I thought it was a good game. I thought the puzzles were cool, but yeah, I agree with you. Like there just didn't like the story didn't feel like it drove me to want to play it more like Ocarina did.
Yeah. I did the exact same thing. I did Zelda 4K,
Hmm.
highest frame rate I could get. I can't remember what it was, but using like the Wii U emulator on my computer.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The Switch though, to me, it's like I was getting to the point where I was getting kind of bored of games, and then the Switch came out and I got that, and it's so more accessible. Like I don't have to sit down, turn it on and stuff. I can literally just pick it up right off of my bed and start playing. And it has like Mario Kart, the Mario Odyssey, Mario Party, all these
Yeah.
different games that I could just go in, play 30 minutes, and then fall asleep.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, it's perfect for stuff like that.
And it's kind of, I don't know, it kind of helped me get back into gaming because I was
That's good.
starting to fall out of it. But
Yeah. The Switch is an interesting device because like so I have two friends that are very big Nintendo fanboys. And they're both really big fans of their Switch. One plays it almost exclusively mobile, like it's hardly ever docked. He takes
yeah.
it with him to work and whatever, and he's playing it all the time, like as a handheld. And then my other buddy says he barely undocks his. Like he says his is pretty much always docked at the house, but he plays with his kids and like they do it that way. So it's interesting how that like that one device can kind of fill both niches for gamers.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember the last time I docked mine. Mine's almost
Really.
always used as a handheld.
Hmm.
But yeah, and going back to the phone games, I don't really play phone games all too much. I literally played that Tech Deck, the skater one, back
Yeah.
in high school, and then Clash of Clans in high school. But those were the
Yeah.
two only mobile games, and now I don't play any mobile games at all.
It's
Uh,
funny. I got a bunch of buddies that play Clash of Clans still,
yeah.
and like we'll be in the middle, like we'll be in matchmaking for like a competitive game in Destiny, and they're sitting here like planning attacks in Clash of Clans, and all of a sudden I'll just be like, "You got this, that ogre, knight thing," and I'm like, "You guys are playing Clash right now, aren't you?" They're like, "Yeah."
Is it
I'm like, come
still
on.
going on?
Yeah, dude, these guys got a whole clan. Like they're talking about kicking people out because they're not playing enough. And I'm like, y'all are really fucking hardcore with this game.
I I had a person, I was in their clan, and they would do battles like every other like 2-3 days or whatever. It was just
Yeah.
nonstop, and then I didn't get on that much, so that I got kicked out of it because of that.
Oh my god.
It's like, oh man, it's crazy how different the microtransactions and phone games are compared to any other form of gaming, though.
Yeah.
Like, that's something I've been meaning to check out is that COD Mobile. I was kind of wondering how they were doing their microtransactions, considering, Call of Duty's like one of the worst console PC games that have microtransactions and stuff, like how they handle it.
It has gotten bad, hasn't it?
Yeah. So like my friend, he was into Black Ops 4. Me, I liked Blackout, but I never got into the multiplayer or anything. He
So
was,
that was sorry, that was the funny thing for me because I played Black Ops 4 too. It was the first Call of Duty that I played in probably 5 years.
yeah.
And I got it because I figured the Blackout BR would be dope and I'd play a bunch of that. I played 2 matches of the BR and then I got super hooked into the multiplayer and played a shit ton of the multiplayer.
Huh, that's it was the opposite for me. I tried
Yeah.
I tried multiplayer and I'm like, "Oh, this is just Black Ops 3.2." But yeah, he was really enjoying Black Ops 4, and then they ruined the game by like they did something or another, like throwing guns in, supply drops
Yeah.
only, or I don't know the specifics, but he said
Mhm.
he just stopped playing it, uninstalled it because of it.
Yeah, I've run into I've actually started playing Black Ops 4 a little bit recently because I have the need for like a mindless shooter, like something that I can just turn on and just play. Where like Destiny, like I'm always working towards something, right? So like I'm always focused on something, and my matchmaking rating from playing so much is so high that like I don't get these like casual like pub stomp games. Like every game is a fucking sweat fest now. And so I fired up Black Ops to try and get something that I could just run around and shoot people. And I did run into a couple of people that were killing me with this like weird gun. And somebody in my chat was like, "Yeah, they're like it's one of the ones that's a new pay to win gun out of supply drops." And I'm like, "Ah, that's kind of a bummer." But I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, see, something I liked about Call of Duty Ghosts is you could straight out just buy the Ripper, and
Yeah,
there's another gun that like switched from like a sniper to a shotgun or something or another, but the Ripper just went from like assault rifle to SMG. But being able to just buy it for a few bucks, that honestly I didn't have an issue with. But then Black Ops 3, you had like the marshals and stuff. It's just like, this is awful.
yeah.
I raged too much to put up with it.
It's interesting to see the path that microtransactions are going to take in like the next couple of years because I think we've reached this tilting point where like people that play games are somewhat being conditioned to them, but also somewhat sick of being nickel and dimed. But we've also reached the point that like I don't think studios can afford to sell a game for $60 and not find some way to monetize on top of that. I just don't. I think those times are past us.
Yeah, I don't know. I think personally, I would rather spend a little bit more money and have a game that's not pay to win,
Yeah.
because opposed to paying $60 or having a free to play, and then to have anything in the game, you have to put money into it. Like,
Yep.
and that's an interesting thing. People don't realize gaming hasn't really increased in price. How long has games cost $60? Like games,
Long time.
like Xbox games, like original
Yeah.
Xbox weren't those 60?
Yep.
And then even before then, like what about like PS1 or even like Nintendo 64?
Yeah. I don't remember a time that the games weren't 60. Right. So that's going back to like maybe Dreamcast days.
Yeah, I mean, you would think with inflation, money, the pricing would go up, but it hasn't. So,
And then you look at the difference in how much is in all of these games that we get now compared to a game back then. Like there's so much more content, and I think as like gamers, we're demanding more content, more this, more that, and but we're not. A lot of people aren't willing to pay more. Like I agree with you. Like I'd rather pay $100 for a game and know that it's complete. But I think you get less sales that way because if people are paying $100 a game, they're not going to buy 8, 9, 10 games a year. They're going to buy their one or two that they play, and they're not going to be able to get as many numbers. We had an interesting conversation on Twitter about this because Destiny's going through this transition in October where the base game is going free to play, and basically there's going to be seasonal drops of content, and you can decide whether you want to buy those seasonal drops and get all the extra content that goes with it, or just skip out and just play the base stuff. But strikes and PvP maps and all that stuff will all be for everybody, so it's not segregating the player base. But things like raids and gear will be. And it's interesting because we've come to the realization that like the microtransactions need to be there in order for them to fund some of the things that we want in the game. But coming up with the right way to do it is the tricky one. People are talking about subscriptions versus battle passes versus just paying more for the game, and there's a lot of ways to do it, and I think at some point the industry's got to figure out what the right way is.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the new Call of Duty, for instance, all DLC maps is free, so they don't want to split up the player base. But there's a lot of rumors with like the next gen of Xboxes coming out that a lot of them there's like streaming devices, and it's essentially kind of like it's kind of weird seeing. It's not even just with gaming. So like I'll give the example of gaming first, but then I'll transition it. With the gaming though, you have these people that are like, okay, well, if you want like the EA package, you get these games and you pay this much per month, and everything is kind of shifting into this monthly service,
Yep.
So like, for instance, when I went to buy my new phone because my old phone kind of shit itself, they have this program where basically you put some money down and then you start paying for it monthly, but then basically there's people that every single year they just get the new phone. So it's like at no point do you actually own your phone. It's more so you're paying monthly to have this phone, and when the new one comes out you get that one.
Yep.
And not just that, like you have like stuff like Hulu, Netflix, and all that. It's all monthly services. And it's weird seeing everything shifting to that.
Well, I'll tell you why, right? Because then the consumer never owns anything. Like you said, like you pay for Hulu, like you don't own the content that you're consuming on Hulu. Like you can't go back and watch those TV shows if you cancel your subscription. It's the same thing with like Game Pass, like on Xbox and all these other game services. And what happens is a lot of times is people sign up for all of these subscriptions for all this content that they want to consume, and they might not actually end up consuming it all the time every month, but they don't cancel their subscription. So now these companies are making a bunch of money on essentially passive memberships, people that haven't canceled their membership, but they really aren't taking up any of their bandwidth or consuming any of their content.
Yeah, that's another thing with like PlayStation Plus is they say, oh well, you get these free games. It's like as soon as you cancel your membership, you can't play those games though.
They're gone. Yeah.
Which is it's really weird though.
But I mean, from a consumer standpoint, I mean, you look at Game Pass and like how many games that you get for $15 a month. It's not a bad business or not a bad purchase proposition if you're somebody that plays a lot of games, to know that you've got this catalog of 100 and some odd games that you can go and play a different game every night. Yeah. I'm personally somebody that I play Destiny probably 9 out of 10 days. It doesn't do much for me because I'm not bouncing back and forth between all these different games.
Yeah. Well, when you strictly talking about the consoles, I mean, it actually isn't that bad because usually you just have to pay, what is it, $60 a year to play online. Now they're actually giving you some benefits.
Yeah.
Because, on PC you don't have to pay to play online. I think that's always it's always been kind of like a ripoff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're making money off of it. They ain't gonna stop anytime soon.
Yeah. I mean, the Nintendo Switch. I mean, they started charging you, and you basically get nothing. They're like, "Oh, you want to play online? You've been able to do it free forever. Now you got to pay to do that."
That was such a shiesty situation. I couldn't believe they did that.
The crappy thing about it, some people are like, "Oh, it's only 20 or $30 or whatever it is," you know. They're
Yeah.
different things, but it's like, well, their services are awful. You want to talk to someone, you have to download an app on your phone to talk to
Yep.
people. It's
Yep.
like, what?
It's unbelievable.
Like, you have an aux cord. Why don't you just allow people to plug in, a headset or whatever and talk in game?
Well, then there was something that came out that these guys were at some sort of a homebrew competition, and they found some sort of workaround that activated voice chat natively on the Switch. There was like some button combination that you could hit or do something that will allow you to plug a headset in and be able to chat with each other um, across switches. Like, so the functionality is there, you just have it turned off.
That's really weird. I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, I remember I had a buddy that is big into like Nintendo news that was explaining it to me.
Huh. That's weird. I remember, so I got the Nintendo Wii the first day it came out, and I also got Animal Crossing City Folk the first day it came out.
Yeah.
And with that, I got the Wii Speak thing, and I remember them advertising it, saying, "Oh, you're gonna be able to talk to people on Animal Crossing, and then games that are coming out in the future, you'll be able to use it and all that." Wii Speak only worked on Animal Crossing. It was the
Oh,
only
really?
game it worked on, and it was like 50, $60 or something like that.
Wow.
And they advertised it as games in the future we're gonna use that, and they never did. I'm like, ugh, if I knew it was only for Animal Crossing, I wouldn't have done it.
But yeah, right.
I don't know. Nintendo does some really weird business moves that I try to analyze, and it just doesn't make sense.
But they get away with it because they're Nintendo. I mean, they've got a very fervent fan base, especially in Japan, but also in the States, of just people that just love Nintendo, and they're gonna purchase anything that Nintendo puts out, and regardless of whether it's right or not.
Yeah, I feel like Nintendo is the Apple of video games.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh man, but like, because Apple, people buy them every single year, and
Yeah.
it's just like there's like next to no upgrades.
No, it's well, I mean, you can't say that about Nintendo, right? Because they've put out arguably some of the best innovations in consoles in recent years. The Wii was a huge step, with the motion controls and things like that. The Switch was the first kind of
Hybrid.
hybrid, type of deal. So they're doing, they're making advancements. I think it's just they're a very niche audience right now.
Yeah, and the difference between them is that I actually really like Nintendo, and Nintendo puts out quality stuff, while as Apple, I don't
Yeah.
I don't really like them all too much, to be honest.
Yeah, I've never been a huge Apple fan.
Like their Macs are kind of meh too, really overpriced.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, but that's the thing is, right? They've got this very fervent fan base that's willing to pay these prices, pay that Apple markup, so to speak.
Yeah. You see that Nintendo was like getting sued or something though over their Joy-Cons constantly having drifting issues, and it got to the point where Nintendo openly was just like, if you have an issue with the Joy-Con, you don't need proof of purchase or anything, send it in and we'll fix it.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah,
The sticks were drifting or something like that.
yeah, like it was that such a big of an issue that people either were threatening or are taking them to court, and that was like it was a pretty recent thing, a couple weeks ago. But
Yeah, I guess it was some guy that had sent him back, and he got his Joy-Cons back, and they were doing the same thing again. So eventually he was just like, screw this, and started like a class action lawsuit.
yeah, but
It's
I don't
crazy.
know. I've always had really crazy luck when it comes to technology. So like I got a original Xbox 360, right? Like the original white arcade one. Had it for I left it on for way longer than I should. I had really long gaming sessions and stuff. I had it for years and years and years. Never had a red ring.
Wow, that's incredible. I
And
had like
then
3.
yeah, all my friends were like, "Yeah, I've been through 3 or 4 of them." I'm like, and yeah, my Nintendo Switch, all the Joy Cons that I have and the Pro controllers and all that, there's no drifting, no nothing. Like, I just get crazy lucky getting decent technology somehow.
I mean, that's super lucky. I'm always paranoid when I buy PCs that I'm gonna get something that's just dead on arrival. And
Yeah.
like I'm like I know that there's good RMA, um, like RMA programs that would let me send it back and get it replaced. But it's like by the time I've spec'd out the PC and like ordered all the parts, I just want to put it together and play with it. You know,
I'm the
I
exact
don't
same
want to
way.
wait to send it back.
Yeah, I had to do that with I think I had to do that with like a GameCube.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really back in the day. I had to like send in my GameCube or something or another. You know what? As a kid, I did go through a bunch of GameCubes. That was the one console that like we constantly had to like vacuum it and like stuff like that. Blow it out. Oh man. But another thing though that I like about Nintendo is that like I buy with confidence. So this is a pro and a con, but something I've been kind of like analyzing about Nintendo is that their games don't drop in value. And
True.
for
Yeah.
their main party games, I feel perfectly okay buying the new Mario for $60. I know I'm going to like it. Any of their main IPs, I know I'm getting my money's worth and I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same
Yeah.
time, I think it was last year. I walked in and I saw that they had I think Zelda Skyward Sword for the Wii, not the Wii U, but the Wii for like $55, and I'm like, it's used and $55. And
Yeah.
then I saw some like third party games, and it'd be like say $5 on PS4, but it's like 20 or $30 on the Switch, and I'm like, why is it? I hate how everything is so much more expensive on Switch. Like,
That's weird.
like even the Final Fantasy 10 and 10-2 remaster, I got that for $10 on the PS4. I think it's $50 right now on the Switch.
That's insane.
It's just
That's insane. I
but
haven't. I admit I can't remember the last time I bought a physical game.
I I buy physical for Switch. That's about it.
Yeah.
But that's just
Yeah.
because I like having like the little carts.
I don't have time to go to the store.
I have to.
Digital is just so much easier and like so much more convenient. You know, it's just I can't justify it. Oh, wait,
Yeah.
no, I take that back. I found Mafia 3 on PC for like $3.50 on like a Target clearance bin, like 3 or 4 months ago. So I bought that.
That's not bad at all.
But it wasn't really physical because you open it up and there was just a CD key that you put into Steam. So I guess it's still
Really?
kind of digital.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, you buy the box and you open it up and it's just a card with a Steam key on it.
That's that's really weird.
Yeah. That's how I mean I think that's like how a lot of games on PCs, like PC games that you see in store, I think that's how a lot of them are now.
Huh.
Because I've got 2 PCs sitting here, neither one of them has a CD drive.
Yeah, my computer doesn't have a CD drive either. So I've never bought a PC disc. I never
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, but like pro tip, like if you've got like, because I went through and I found like at my parents, I had a whole bunch of old PC games that I had at, when I was younger, and if you have the CD key for the game, you can input it into Steam, and if it's a game that's on Steam, it'll actually activate the digital version of the game on Steam for you.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I
Interesting.
found like a whole bunch of like old racing games and like the original Orange Box with like Half-Life and Counter-Strike and all that stuff.
Uh,
And I was able to activate them on Steam just by putting in the CD key from God 2002.
Half-Life, man. They need to make a new one.
It ain't ever happened. The meme's too good for them to make one now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like the equivalent of like I've never seen a Star Wars movie start to finish. I've seen like little clips and bits of it.
Oh,
Never
really?
seen one start to finish.
Wow.
And the reason for that is because the reaction some people have on their face when I tell them that, I imagine will forever be way better than anything Star Wars could actually put out.
I don't know, man. The original trilogy is just like now. Granted, I mean, this was from a time that I grew up when those kept coming out, so like the original trilogy, um, it is probably like one of my favorite series of movies. Like it's so good.
Yeah, my issue is that I'm not really into the whole sci-fi thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not a sci-fi person, you're probably not gonna get as much enjoyment out of them. But like just the fact of like the movies themselves, like are such a great story. And granted, because they've been out so long, like a lot of the big twists have been spoiled. But like the whole Luke, I am your father. That was explosive like back then. Like I remember watching that as a kid and just being like, "Oh my god, what?" like and like those types of story beats I think are really really good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I really liked the Star Wars Battlefront games on like the PS2, and there's this one on the GameCube I really liked too. So I liked the Star Wars games. I've never seen the movies. I've been
Yeah,
meaning to watch them, but I've just never found the time. Yeah. So you recently switched to Twitch though. So
I did.
how's that switch been?
It's been good. It's been like a little over a month now. I've played Destiny every day of that month except for one. Um, it's been very humbling because a lot of people from the One of Us community that I helped build over on Mixer have come over and visited me on Twitch. A lot of them had made like their own, like their first Twitch account to come say hi to me and drop a follow and drop a sub and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So like that was really cool, like to have that happen. Um, but overall, like I it's been great. I think my motivations as a content creator, and kind of the things like my goals had kind of shifted over the past probably 6 to 8 months, and Twitch was the better place for me to kind of go after those types of goals and motivations than Mixer was at the time.
Yeah, I've always considered switching back and forth. I've never really been on Twitch all too much. I I'm not, but one question I wanted to ask you though is you did it like right before Ninja decided to go over
Weeks
to Mixer. Yeah,
weeks before Ninja moved over.
yeah, yeah. I mean that's still relatively pretty close.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
do you
No, I
think?
moved over and he was like, I can't compete with this, so he was like, I'm going over to Mixer. That's what happened.
So my question for you is, should you have known, like if you've waited, right, and you saw that Ninja went over to Mixer, do you think that would have made you double think about it, switching over?
I'd be lying to you if I said that it hadn't crossed my mind since all that happened. But I every time I have that thought, like I step back and I look at what I'm doing and the place that I'm at, and like Ninja's so big that like he's gonna help a lot of people on Mixer. Like he's gonna bring more users to the platform. Um, but my issue is that like I enjoy playing Destiny and I enjoy playing it on PC, and those two things are not always successful as a on Mixer, right? people that have played Destiny on PC have been successful when they switch to variety.
Uh-huh.
And it's just not something that I wanted to do. And I found what was happening is when I was on Mixer is like I was playing different games to chase numbers. Like I was chasing directories. And I didn't like that. Like I felt like I had to like balance my time between what I wanted to do as content creation and what I wanted to do for gaming. And like I don't have enough time, playing games as it is to really play games that I don't want to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and I'm the type of person that I know a lot about Destiny. That's kind of my shtick as a content creator, is that I'm very knowledgeable in Destiny. I'm very good at teaching people about Destiny, answering questions and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there just isn't a market for that on Mixer right now, and that's okay. Like that's fine. And the other part of it is like I don't have the hours to dedicate, to streaming to become partnered on Mixer. Right now, I can't. I stream 2 hours a day, maybe 4 days a week. I don't do a lot of the open lobby stuff. I don't play the BRs. Like I don't do all the things that I could do to get myself into the right positions to make a realistic push for partner.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of dialed back and I looked at what like my motivations were in content creation, and I realized that I want to be a Destiny content creator. And like partnership isn't necessarily my goal. Bringing more people into the game is. And if I can make a couple extra bucks doing that, to the point where like maybe I don't have to work weekends, like I don't have to work a side job on the weekends,
Uh-huh.
then I've won. You know what I mean? And Twitch kind of sets me up in a better place to do that right now.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I relate to what you just said a lot because, with the whole Destiny thing for you, that's similar to me because I play mainly PS4. I do play some PC gaming, but it's predominantly PS4 whenever I stream. And
Yeah.
everyone who comes in is like, "You want to play?" I'm like, "I'm on PS4. If you're on PS4, I'm down to play." And no one is.
Yeah.
And a lot of people instantly leave as soon as they see that I'm not on Xbox, which is
Yeah.
which is kind of weird. But and then at the same time, I'm doing it just for fun. Like I really
Yeah.
could not care if I have viewers, if I get follows. I'm just streaming it just to kind of stream it, to
Yeah.
for fun, for content creation. So that's why, I continue to stream to Mixer while, knowing that's a Microsoft platform on my PlayStation. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and eventually you're gonna find, I think especially with the Ninja moving over, you're gonna find that there's people out there that are on PS4 that are looking for PS4 streamers, and you're in the minority, right? So like that's the two sides of the coin, right?
Yeah.
Is you either want to be, the only fish in a small pond, right? So a directory that people don't might not be super popular, you're gonna jump to the top of that directory. When I was streaming Destiny on Mixer, excuse me, I was typically in the top 5, top 10 of the directory, every time that I streamed.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, people would come in, they would say, "Hey, do you want to play?" I'd be like, "I'm on PC." They're like, "Oh, I'm on Xbox," and they would go on to the next person that was on Xbox.
Yeah.
Flip side of that is I had a situation like that on Twitch not too long ago. A viewer came in and said, "Hey, because there's a competitive mode in Destiny, and if you get to 2,100 points in that competitive mode, you're awarded with this really good gun."
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Hey, I need help getting to 2,100. Can you help me?" And I'm like, "Are you on PC?" And he's like, "No, I'm on Xbox." I'm like, "Damn, that sucks. I'm on PC. I can't help. I got a couple of friends that are on Xbox that help people do this all the time." And I actually gave him a name of a couple of friends that I have that stream on Mixer
Mm-hmm.
that help. He went over there, right? He got his help, and now he is a regular in my channel, though,
Yeah, that's
right?
awesome.
It's like he came back.
Uh-huh.
Like even though I'm not on Xbox, I'm not playing with him. Like he comes back and he's now a regular in my channel. That he comes in, says hi, hey, thanks for hooking me up with those guys, appreciate it, this and that, and now just hangs out and chats and just enjoys watching Destiny. And I think that's like one of the biggest differences in the viewership that I've seen between the two platforms. Is that the Mixer's viewership, not all of them, right? This isn't, I'm not trying to say that this is indicative of the entire population,
Yeah,
but a lot of
absolutely.
the viewers are coming from Xbox and they're looking for people to play with.
Yeah.
And if you don't provide that to them, like they're just going to go find somebody that can. Whereas on Twitch, like it's not baked into the consoles.
Yeah.
So the people that are on Twitch are going to Twitch to consume this content. They're going to Twitch to watch people play.
Yeah.
And I think that that's like one of the big fundamental differences in the two platforms.
Yeah. Although, I'm not super familiar with Twitch. One of the things that I really like about Mixer is the FTL. What's the delay for Twitch? Is it?
So it's not as good as Mixer, right? Because Mixer is like sub-second,
Uh-huh.
but Twitch has gotten there. Is like you can choose low latency mode,
Uh-huh.
um, and low latency mode's still only like a second. So it's not
Oh, that's not bad. Cause like
like it's
YouTube's like
not
30 seconds, isn't it?
yeah. So it was funny when I first came to Mixer. It was before they had low latency mode on Twitch, and I would go back to Twitch to visit friends, and I'd be like, it'd be a really jarring experience to try to chat with them because you would send a chat and you would see it show up in chat, and you'd wait, and you'd wait, and you'd wait, and you'd wait, and then you'd see their eyes glance over. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, what's up, Rock?" And I'm like, "Wow, like that's like coming from FTL to that is just jarring." And now it's just like I switch back and because I still have a lot of friends that I watch on Mixer,
Yeah.
so I jump back and forth between the two all the time, and it's not nearly as jarring as it used to be.
Well, that's good that they improved that because it's been a while since I've been on Twitch, so it they didn't have the low latency when I was last on
Yeah,
it.
yeah, that was a big difference for me.
Yeah. I don't know. I find it kind of weird, like the brand loyalty that some people have, and I might have come across within this podcast like I have that, and to some
Yeah,
degree I think everyone does, but like I just want to make it clear to anyone that's listening, like if I say I don't like Apple, I mean, do I hate Apple if I see that you're on an Apple phone or
no,
computer or whatever?
yeah,
It's like I don't really care. So like talking about different brands and stuff, like even like Twitch versus Mixer, like
yeah,
whatever whatever you want to play on, um, you know, I think it's cool that people are watching people play.
yeah. I made a post on my blog not too long after I switched to Twitch about that exact topic and talking about you know people because when it was right after they announced like that Sparks were going away as like a form of monetization,
Uh
and you saw a lot of people move to Twitch, and people that stayed on Mixer were like, F that guy for going to Twitch, F that guy, Twitch sucks, F you. And I'm like, you guys have these strange loyalties to these huge companies, these huge businesses that are just there to make money, right? They're not your friend. Like they're not there to be buddy buddy with you, right?
yeah, not one bit.
They're businesses, right? They're making business decisions,
You're just a dollar
right? And
sign.
as content creators, like we should be, if nothing, supporting each other to make sure that we get to the point where these companies work for us. And then like 2 days later, the biggest streamer in the world jumps from one platform to the other. And I'm like, see, like this is what I'm talking about. Like, but that's like it's like the perfect example because he didn't have these like these strange loyalties to Twitch where he's like, I have to stay on Twitch, fuck Mixer. You know,
Yeah.
he's working for himself. Like he's making moves for his family, and now he's getting paid. And those platforms are working for him because they realize that without content creators, Mixer's nothing. Without content creators, Twitch is nothing. If there's nobody streaming on Twitch or Mixer and Twitch don't have a platform. Like they don't have anything. And it's gotta be creator focused and not so focused on platform.
Yeah, for sure. I think I remember you actually saying that on one of your latest podcasts, because I actually went back and listened to your previous like 5 or 6 of them,
Yeah.
and I remember you saying like, and then 2 days later.
Yeah. I even posted the tweet, right? And I posted a link to the blog post, and I'm like, man, this aged well.
Yeah, but yeah, I just wanted to put that out there though, because a lot of times, whether it's going to be on my podcast or streaming or whatever, I might in a joking manner, say
Yeah.
something bad about a company, but at no point am I really like, like the brand loyalty isn't there. Like for
Yeah.
me, it's like if Mixer started trying to charge you to stream or did something stupid or whatever, yeah, I would switch over to Twitch. If Android stops putting aux cords in their like aux ports on their phones and starts doing stupid stuff, yeah, I'll switch to a different brand. Like
Yeah. Yep.
I just find the brand loyalty
So one
super
of those things,
weird.
like I have my preferences, but at the end of the day, like as long as what you're doing isn't affecting my life or my family's life, you do you. I'm not gonna hate on you because you use an Apple phone. I just don't like to use Apple phones.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean it's something that's just really weird to me. It's like so people come in, they're like, "Oh, you're on PlayStation." Ew.
Yeah, like, I never understood the fucking console wars. Like whenever a new console comes out, it's just like social media gets so toxic
It's
about
like
how, oh, this Xbox is the fucking worst shit ever. No, this PlayStation's the worst shit ever.
the
And then
the
all the
South
PC
Park
players are over here
episode.
like, um, I mean, we're cool. Like, what's up?
The South Park episode with the console wars was
Oh my
so
god,
funny.
so good.
Oh man, but like I don't know. Like it's basically the same thing. The only thing that differs is the exclusives.
Yeah,
Like that's like literally the only difference in like the controller, I guess, but and like the UI, but I mean it's weird.
yeah. I never understood all that good stuff. I mean, be passionate about what you want to be passionate about. Just don't be an asshole about it.
Yeah. I thought it was funny. So, um, I was I was at this family event with my ex, right? And I didn't know her family that well.
Mm-hmm.
And her stepmom was telling this story, right? And she was saying, because it was somehow was talking about technology, right? And she's like, so this guy got like this new Android phone, right? And then like 2 days later, he just up and decided to turn it in and get an iPhone. So then I said in the most sarcastic tone, he's like, oh, so he just, and I snapped, ooh, his IQ dropped just like that, right? In a very sarcastic tone because, it's just something I did.
Yeah.
And she got so offended. And I'm like, I snapped and said it in a sarcastic tone. How did you not know I was joking?
Yeah.
We left
It's
shortly after.
I mean, I can imagine. Awkward.
It was.
Yeah. I don't know, man. People, I don't want to say like sensitive, but like people seem to be looking for things to be offended about, like lately. And it's like
Yeah.
anything, like even like silly stuff like that. Like, oh, you don't like iPhones? I'm offended. So what? Like, I don't like the color green, right? I mean, that doesn't mean I hate you for wearing a green shirt today.
Yeah, I don't know. People are out searching for reasons to get upset.
Yeah, I ain't got time for that.
Yeah, me neither. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's pretty cool though that whenever you did decide to switch over to Twitch, that people were supportive and not just kind of like,
Yeah.
oh, you traitor.
Well, and that's like, and I think that has something to say like about our community is like, yeah, it was built on Mixer, but like a couple of us have moved over to Twitch and are being pretty successful. And I'm seeing some of the same names in the Twitch chats as I saw in the Mixer chats. And I think that's why, like, anytime somebody comes into streaming help or something like that, is like, I need help getting viewers. I need help doing this. It's like, you need to build a community. Like you need a group of people that are, a group of friends, and not just people that are there to watch you because you're playing Fortnite and you're playing with viewers, or you're helping carry people through some raid or something like that. Like build a group of friends, and those friends are gonna watch you no matter whether you play Destiny or Fortnite.
Yeah, that's something I definitely really like about the One of Us community. So, what was that? How long has it been? Like, I think it was basically the beginning of this year. It could have been late last year, but I randomly stumbled across Robert, and
Yeah,
I don't really watch streams that much, like at all. I stream, but as a streamer, I don't think a lot of streamers watch other streamers a lot, maybe a little bit, but I randomly came across his, and I saw like how he handles stuff, right? So I joined the Discord, and I looked at how people were operating and stuff, and that this community of One of Us is like one of the best communities I've come across, because I've come across different ones, and there's slight negativity or just
yeah,
weirdness to it, but with One of Us, it's like everyone is here to bring everyone else up with them. You need help,
yeah.
I'll help you out. You want some suggestions or this, that, whatever it be. People aren't, it's not a competition or anything. It's just a
No,
group of people trying to
yeah.
just have a good time and stuff, like.
And I feel like I've been in, because I've got a long Discord list, right? And
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of them where they have kind of the same layout, but the goal for everything is to funnel support back up to the stream team.
Yeah.
Whereas like we've we've never really been about that. Like we feel like we've put a strong group of individuals on the stream team that we can grow the community on our own individually. And but being able to leverage the community to help everybody else grow. Like my two favorite channels in our Discord are, one, streaming help, which is where I can hop in and people got questions and I can pass on the knowledge that I've gained over the last 2 years of streaming, and help somebody that might be new set up their alerts or design a computer they need for streaming. And then the other one is our achievements channel, where people will just go in and they're psyched about hitting either 1,000 followers or 100 followers, and they're just pumped, and everybody's like, hell yeah, way to go, keep it up. And like that's just so cool to see, like that kind of support and positivity out of a group of random strangers on the internet.
Yeah. That's yeah, absolutely.
So, but yeah, and then I mean, like I said, when I moved over, the amount of people that came over and made new accounts on Twitch to follow me and drop a sub or something like that it was humbling.
Yeah, that being said, I remember when Moody Gamer got partnered with Mixer. Literally everyone in the One of Us
Yeah.
came into his stream and like was dropping a bunch of inappropriate gifts, all the sparks and stuff, and it's just like I don't know, the community all it's a community, like an actual
Yeah. Yeah.
community.
Yeah, it's really cool. And like I said, like if you would have told me a year and a half ago that like we were gonna have a Discord with like almost 3,000 people in it, and have this many tight friends, and do things like be able to do things like Project Brightside, where we can actually help people with get through their hard days or some shit like that, like I would have told you were crazy. It was just a couple of us that had just started streaming on Mixer that were like, hey, let's kind of make a team and see if we can put a Discord together. And now it's blown up.
Yeah. How has that been going, by the way? I remember I kind of went through a period as of late where I kind of stopped with Mixer streaming and all that because I got super busy and stuff.
Yeah.
And right before I left, I remember Twinkles?
Tingles.
Tingles. Yeah, Tingles was starting it up and stuff. But as soon as it started, like actually, once it launched, that's kind of when I stopped gaming basically for a little bit and stuff. So how has that been going?
It's insane, man. So I helped Tingles come up with like the idea, the message, and everything like that, and then he pulled together a team. And they kind of drove the design of what the Project Brightside would look like. And I tried to keep pretty much hands off, let them do their own thing, and kind of figure it out. And I've just kind of monitored to make sure that we aren't getting into, you know, um, unfavorable territory, so to speak. And so they came up with a few channels. One's called Let's Talk, and it's pretty much just that. You can go in there if you want to talk about something. You can either have a chat, or one of the Project Brightside members will DM you, and you can have the conversation in DMs.
Uh-huh.
The one that's really been huge, I think, is Tell Your Story. And it's just a place that people can come in and share some of the stories that they've been through. Whether it was abuse, thoughts of suicide, drug types of things. Share the stuff that they've overcome and the stuff that they've battled through. And I think it's been such a source of strength for a lot of people, because just them being able to get that out there, and voice what has happened and what they've been through, not only reminds them themselves that they've survived that, like, and make them realize how strong it is, but help other people see, like, yeah, I'm going through some shit now, but that person made it through. I can too. And again, because it's the One of Us community, everybody's super supportive in there. So if someone posts a story like, hey, I went through something really similar, it gets better, like, it's gonna be okay. And it's just been incredible to watch people just kind of share and be open, and be that community, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I can't really relate to it that much, but I could see how for certain people, having a place where you could just go and vent and stuff is definitely
Yeah.
a good thing.
And that was the hardest part for me too, is like, I don't necessarily relate. Like, I haven't necessarily been through some of the stuff that some of the people that are sharing have been through. But at the same time, like, I read some of these stories and I realize, like, how many amazing people that we have in our community. And and that this has kind of been the basis for my podcast, is giving people in the community a position and a platform to tell their stories. And there's a lot of amazing stories out there to be told.
Yeah,
It's it's,
absolutely.
it's wild.
Being within the podcast area, I mean, that's a big portion. It's just listening to people talk and tell certain stories and whatnot. Just banter, I guess.
Yeah.
But
And that was always like, so, and I'm like, that was the what kind of sparked my podcast idea. Was I'd wanted to start a podcast. I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. And I was like, well, what if I just pulled somebody from the community and just talked to them about video games, and talked to them about content creation, and learned a little bit more about them, and had the conversations that you can't necessarily have in a stream chat through text. And I started doing it with the stream team, and people have loved it, and it's really cool. Whenever I reach out to anybody and ask them to be on the podcast, they're ecstatic. People get really excited about getting questions in for all the guests and things like that, and it's been really a rallying and kind of like communal sort of thing.
yeah, I mean, not gonna lie, I've wanted to start a podcast for a while, and I was talking to you about kind of how I was formatting it, and as far as like format goes, I was kind of going for like this freestyle one where it's just kind of like two people talking, a lot like how Joe Rogan's is. But when it comes to like inspiration and stuff, I was looking at a lot of your podcasts and how how you do it, how you set it up, and how you have like the questions and stuff and all that. And
Yeah.
um, you even have podcast help where you talk about certain things and things you don't even think about.
Yeah.
And
There's a lot more to it than even I realized. And like, I listened back to some of my old podcasts, and I realized how much I've grown as a podcaster over the last, I think we're at like 35 episodes. And like, my skills as an interviewer, as a producer, and all of those things have gotten so much better, that now it's like, it's second nature for me to produce a podcast. and I'm able to grab even like the most introverted of people that might not want to answer any of these questions, and I've found ways to kind of disarm them and get them talking and telling their stories. And it's definitely a skill that comes with a lot of practice.
Yeah, I haven't even thought about that. To be
And
honest with
that's
you.
the thing is like when I started, I didn't either. And then you run into like the first one where like you ask somebody like a question that you expect to lead into the story. They're like, yeah. And you're like, um, um, okay. And but you've got to be thinking that like, and typically I've got like my next 2 or 3 questions laid out before I ask a question. So I have something ready.
Yeah.
But then what you do is I just listen to what they say. And they may say something interesting, like they might mention like, they have a love for music, right? And I'll take that down a road and see where that goes, right? Oh, do you play an instrument? And then they tell you the story about how they started with piano, and this person that you've known for over a year, right? And you had no idea that they were a musician, and they play like 15 different instruments, and you've just discovered that through conversation, right? And you've let them share that with their community, and now all the other musicians that are in the community are going to hear that and be like, oh my god, so and so's a musician, I'm going to go hang out with them and have that chat. Like I can talk to them about that, like, and that's how we come together as a community and connect. Like that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Um Yeah, that's now you got me sweating a little profusely. You got me thinking about the future. Like, what do I do if someone just is like, "What's your favorite food?" Uh, probably
Pizza.
pizza. Anything else? Like, you wanna like, what's your favorite pizza place? I just in general, pizza's pizza,
Yeah,
man.
just go to Pizza Hut. Just get a pan pizza. Let's go. Now it's to the point where like dead air gives me anxiety.
Yeah.
Like just as a podcaster, like as soon as something's silent, I'm just like, I need to say something. I need to say something. I need to say something.
I think a really good thing is that there's editing though.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my first one was with Adrian, and I've been friends with him for a long while, so I honestly didn't have to edit that one because there
Yeah.
was no dead air. Like,
Yeah.
it was just two people talking, that's known each other for a long time. But I feel like in the future, and even with this one, I'm gonna have to start editing it, and something I've been thinking about is how I kind of like want to brand it because, like I said, Joe Rogan is a podcast that I listen to. He really likes Jimi Hendrix. That's why his podcast is called like the Joe Rogan Experience, the Jimi
Yeah.
Hendrix Experience.
Yep.
Or like how this guy named Fantavision, he has a podcast called Back to the Futon, like Back to the
Nice.
Future, but they
Yeah.
sit on a futon on their
Yep.
podcast. So it's kind of something else that I feel like people don't really think about too much. And this is something I've been thinking about. I just haven't had time to implement it into mine yet.
Yeah.
But is the branding. So
Yep.
everything you do, even if you're a streamer, if you're a podcaster, whatever you do, everything you do, it's a brand, and you need to think
Yeah.
about how you're branding it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something else that I might do because I don't think every podcast I do is gonna have guests and stuff. I think I might do something similar to your mini podcast where I just talk about like certain subjects like branding and how people can start learning about how to brand yourself.
So the mini podcasts were interesting because I think those were probably some of my less popular episodes. I think because people like the longer form episodes with a guest,
Yeah.
but I think they taught me more about being a podcaster than the longer form ones. Like the mini pods require more work than the full form episodes because the mini pods I have an outline, right? I'm the only one talking. If there's dead air, it's my fucking fault.
Yeah. See,
Um,
that's the thing I'm scared of.
Yeah. And like I don't do well with like scripted things, right? So I can't script it out, but I'll write an outline. These are the things I want to talk about, and like this is how I want like the episode to flow. And I'll go through them that way. And it works, but like it's kind of taught me how to prevent myself from rambling, like always be working towards a point so that
Uh-huh.
it's not just like I'm sitting there and just mindlessly rambling into the microphone for 30 minutes and we get to the end of the episode and there was no point to it. So
Yeah.
by doing the outline I can say, okay, this is what I'm going to do and this is how I'm going to do it, and here we go. And it's a half an hour of me talking about monetization or audio quality on your stream or paying attention to numbers, and it's almost like it's drafted like an essay, right? There's a point that I'm arguing, and then I give a bunch of evidence and my analysis, and there's that. And so yeah, it's they're my favorite episodes to do, but also the ones that require like the most work.
Yeah. I could definitely see how, the longer form ones with guests would be more popular, but me being, super analytical, I've always liked the mini pods a bunch because, you're analyzing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but you ever find it weird, like whenever you go to sit down and record one and you're just talking into a mic to nobody?
Yeah. And it's funny because my wife will walk by and she always seems to like walk by the office when I'm saying like the weirdest shit, right? Like I'll be making some like random joke about, I don't know, something weird. And she's like, what do you fucking talk about on your podcast? She goes, I walk by, she goes, and you're making these voices and you're just talking to yourself in the office. I'm like, it's fine. All right. Like 4 or 5 people are going to listen to that and like 2 of them are going to enjoy it. So just calm down.
That's always a fear of mine. I'm just gonna start bantering about something or another, and the
Yeah,
people I
right.
live with are gonna be like, "Who are you talking? What are you talking? Who are you?"
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, it's a little bit weird trying to like start a podcast up and stuff because these are things you don't think about until you come
Yep.
across it.
It's no different than streaming or YouTube or Instagram or anything like that. Like from the outside, it looks like you just hop on and you talk into a microphone and you record it for an hour and then you upload it and profit. But like there's so much more to it. Like it's an art form, just like streaming is. Like streaming isn't just turning on, your computer playing video games on the like and broadcasting on the internet. Like you said, there's branding, like there's community building, like there's marketing, there's promos, like all of this stuff that goes into how you create your content and how you promote your content applies to podcasting, it applies to streaming, it applies to YouTube videos, it applies to everything.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot harder, a lot more work, and a lot less expected pay than you would think.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, and that's another thing that really bothers me though, is when people push networking. Like networking is a good thing, but people need to like there's a line, and you get these people that come in and it's obvious that they only are talking to you because they want something out of you.
Yep.
And it's very weird.
Disingenuine networking.
Yeah.
I hate the term networking. And I used to use it a lot because like I come from like a business side, like I'm in manufacturing and I'm more of a corporate role.
Uh-huh.
So like I do have to do a lot of quote unquote networking for my job, to make connections within our industry, within the job, within the business, whatnot.
Uh-huh.
But like there it is strictly business, right? I'm not going to invite these people to my kid's birthday party. I'm not trying to find a new buddy to have movie night with. I'm trying to make business connections to, better my career. In streaming though, like I don't know why it's different, but I've found that you get more success out of your quote unquote networking if you look at it as just making friends.
Yeah, and when it comes to streaming and stuff like that, that's definitely what you should, what your ultimate goal should be is to make friends and have people to play with and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there's some that are just like literally trying just to get a following, and they want to use your followerage to get there
Yep.
and stuff, and it's just like,
Yep.
eh,
Hey, you
eh.
want to co-stream? Yeah, man. Do you play Destiny? No, I play Fortnite. Oh, well, I don't play Fortnite. Oh, well, we should co-stream Fortnite. But I don't play Fortnite. Well, no, it's cool. We'll just do a quick co-stream. Like, no, it's not like that's not how that works, right? Like, I I'd rather you come in and we have a chat for a half an hour, right? And you talk to me in my chat, or I talk to you in your chat. We find a common ground and we go, oh well, I don't play Fortnite, I don't play Destiny, but you know what? We both play Forza. Like, let's go play some Forza together. Like, that seems like it'd be fun. But yeah, you can always tell there's certain people that are just there because they want to, quote unquote, share your community. And once they've got as many followers as they feel like they can get from your community, they disappear.
Yeah.
And
Yep, they
it's
do.
sad because there have been times where, like, I misread the situation, right? And I thought, they were some friends, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, they're gone. They've surpassed my numbers, and I don't hear from them anymore. And it's sad, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
It's part of the game, I guess.
But I mean, that's not even that's everywhere, and I think people can, at least not everyone, but a good amount of people can sense and genuine like that, especially
Oh yeah.
like for instance, like even like in the music scene, right? So take um. This isn't really my type of music, but take like Billie Eilish. She did like a rendition of "Bad Guy" with Justin Bieber. You could tell that like she really actually, I think she had like a crush on Justin Bieber when she was younger and stuff, and it was a
Yeah.
very genuine connection. And but then you take something like or like even a better example would be like Lady Gaga just did um a a cooperation thing, not cooperation, a co-op, whatever you want to call it, a collaboration with that one country dude, and like you could tell it was a genuine thing. But then you have certain songs where they're featuring them literally just to get their fan base listening to them,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's just people. It seems to be a growing thing that people aren't so genuine. They're just trying to. They're when they start associating with you, rather than just to associate, they're just trying to see what they can get out of you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
It's sad, but it's become a skill that I think you have to have in today's society, is being able to recognize when people are being genuine, and sometimes it can be tough.
yeah, but and that, going full circle, I think that's a really good thing about one of us is that I don't think I've come across. And granted, I'm a very small speck of one of us. I'm, I'm only just recently trying to get back in there, but I haven't really seen anyone that was trying to be a part of the community for genuine reasons.
No, and because I think a lot of times, like, those type of people don't last, right? Is we've had it before where, like, somebody be like, oh well, I just didn't fit in with your community, and people think I'm fucking dumb, right? They'll come in and they'll be like, listen, your community is not very friendly, they didn't accept me. And I go, let me search your fucking history, and the only thing that you've ever posted in our Discord is your Mixer channel. Like, it's not how you make friends, bud. Like that type of shit. Or like, they've been in the community for like 2 days or something like that, and they're like, well, I'm still not getting any viewers. I'm like, that's not what this is about. Like, you need to get in here, have some conversations, like make some friends, like, and that's like, be a part of the community, not just come in here to chase numbers and chase clout or whatever.
Yeah. Or
But
like,
yeah.
not within one of us, but there's been communities I've been in, or like group chats and stuff, where someone comes in at like 3 a.m, says hi, no one replies because it's 3 a.m, and then they just like, you know what, you guys aren't active, blah 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 blah. It's like,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, I love that.
what? Oh man. Uh well, so something that really drew me to your when you were streaming on Mixer, um something that drew me in to you particularly is your audio. So I've always been super like I have an ear for it, right?
Yeah.
And I came into your stream and the quality of your mic and how, and then I started talking to you about it, and then you showed me that like you you have like a mixer board and like all kinds of different stuff.
Yeah.
Um, like, so I guess my question would be like, what do you have? What do you do? What are your some suggestions if people are trying to up their audio quality?
My biggest suggestion is to don't overgo your budget just to get an audio setup. Like audio is super important like to a lot of people. Um I don't think it's as crucial on Mixer, um because I think a lot of people are doing really well with just headset mics. I I've always felt that like a good audio setup draws me personally into a stream a little bit more because it's easier to have that conversation with the streamer. So yeah, right now I've got a pretty nice setup. I've got an MXL 770 condenser microphone. It sits on a blue compass mic arm, and it goes into a Behringer Xenix 802 USB mixer. The mixer provides my phantom power, but it also lets me mix my game PC, my stream PC, and my microphone together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do EQ settings. It gives me an FX send so that I can send just my mic to Discord. Does a whole bunch of stuff for me, and it gives me a very clean power to my microphone so that I can get a good sound out of it. But when I first started, my first microphone, I paid $20 on Amazon, and I got a Tonor condenser microphone with a phantom power supply that converted from XLR to USB, and a mic arm and a pop filter and a windsock for $20.
That's not bad at all.
No, it was a pile of shit, but you know what? Like it was an upgrade over what I had. And then I got the mixer, and then just putting clean power to that microphone gave me really good audio quality.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just been like slow upgrades over there. But like that was why my first advice was like don't overspend your budget. Buy
Mm-hmm.
what you can afford, like what makes sense to your stream. Like if your stream's not making any money, it doesn't make sense to put a $5,000 audio setup in there.
Yeah.
Um, and as my stream has made revenue, like things like this have gotten upgraded, and now I've got a very pretty nice audio setup. But I think like the key is always been to just watch your VODs, like watch back one of your streams and see what you like and don't like about your audio. Like if your game is making it so that nobody can hear you talk, that's a problem. Like, and there's ways to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Likewise, if there's a lot of background noise around you, like there's ways to fix that. But if you don't watch back your VODs, you're never gonna know that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a big one. Is that people a lot? Something that I see a lot of people do is like they just hit the record button, play, and that's that. Like they don't pay attention to their audio levels. They don't watch their VODs. They just,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and if that's what you want to do, sure. But there's always room for improvement with everything you do. And a big thing you could do if you're trying to play games or stream or basically, anything is to watch previous things and put yourself in the shoes as a viewer and think, okay, well, what could I do differently that would make me enjoy this more?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's how I've like even like outside of audio, like just as a streamer, like I've watched and like if you're not enjoying your content, like change it.
Yeah.
Um, I mean like there have been times where like I've played competitive like comp games on stream, and I've gotten really frustrated and really angry. And I know some of my viewers enjoy that, like they enjoy seeing like the passionate side of my gameplay,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't like enjoy seeing that. And so like I made a conscious decision that like I'm just not going to play comp on stream anymore. Like I'll play that off a stream. And it's not because I want to hide it or anything. It's just like that's not the type of content that I want to create. Like I want to be like more of the informative type of stuff, and not the guy that's screaming and yelling "fuck" and punching his keyboard, in the middle of a game.
Yeah. See, you're much more of a drifter type YouTuber, while as you got people who are yelling in the mics and stuff, and it's entertaining like White Boy.
Yeah,
Yeah. And that goes back full circle to branding. How do you want to brand yourself? Do you want to be
yeah,
the calm person who's, if you're just trying to chill and watch it, solid gameplay, or do you want to be the person who's loud and obnoxious and, to some degree entertaining,
yeah.
depending how you see it.
And I've always been like, video games for me are my way to relax after like a long day, right? So I don't want to have to work all day and then come home and be all fucking amped up and yelling and screaming. Like I want to just chill out. Like I usually make myself a cup of coffee and just kind of hang out with buds and shoot the shit and laugh and play video games. Like I
Yeah.
don't want to have to brand myself to the point where like I've got to be super sweaty, competitive, screaming and punching monitors every day.
Yeah. See, that's usually how I am, but I'm not even gonna lie. Sometimes, I'll hop on Call of Duty or something, and I just get so into it, and I get so competitive that I
Yeah,
get to the point where like, they're like, "Are you a pro gamer or something?" No, like I'm really bad. I'm just really getting into
yeah.
it.
I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of known for my rants about Destiny, but a lot of times my rants come from a place of wanting the game to be better. Like they're not just me being negative. Like there's
Yeah.
negativity built with constructive criticism, and I think that's the difference. Like I think you can be frustrated, you can be angry, but make something constructive out of it. Like be productive.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big difference, Me being a vocalist, I used to upload really, really weird, bad vocal covers that should never be seen ever, and there'd be times where people would be like, "Yeah, you suck." That's not criticism, but that's just
No,
saying you suck. And then there's
it's
people
just
like,
negativity.
and then there'd be people like, "Hey, your pitch is a little bit off, blah 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 blah," and that's like, "Hey, you're actually trying to help."
Okay, I could fix that. Like that's an
Yeah.
actionable feedback.
But I think that's a big issue within the gaming community as a whole. Is like, for instance, let's I talk about Call of Duty a lot, but it's like the industry standard kind of, because
Yeah.
it's just so big. But you got people that are constantly complaining and stuff. It's just like Call of Duty sucks. Okay, well why? And they never go into why. And then some of them they have to be. It's never good enough. You look at this new Call of Duty coming out though, and there's almost like no negativity with it, which is kind of weird to think about, because for the past like 5-6 years of Call of Duty, no matter what they did, there was complaints. But now, if you say anything, if you even have any criticism, like productive criticism, right, of it,
Yeah.
people are like, "How dare you?" Which is, it's kind of weird how it went it did a 180,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
people would make videos about, "Oh, this is why I hate Black Ops 3," and it would get a lot more views than, this is what I like about this Call of Duty."
Yeah. That's 100% how year one of Destiny 2 was, right? Because they made a whole bunch of changes to Destiny 2, and at launch, Destiny 2 was not a good Destiny game. And it got to a point where like a lot of the YouTubers for Destiny were stepping away because like any videos that they put out that were remotely positive about Destiny would tank. And then
Yeah.
a video about this is why Destiny is the worst trash game ever and nobody should ever fucking play it would, get, millions of views.
Yeah.
Because it became popular to hate Destiny. And Bungie's done a really good job of turning it around. And now like we're getting to the point where people are talking about this expansion happening in October with kind of like that same mentality that the COD community is talking about Modern Warfare. Like it's just a lot of positivity, a lot of good vibes. Like Bungie's communicating really well, which I think is important to people's expectations. But they're also delivering more of what the players want, and they're kind of making Destiny more of kind of like the player focused game, and it's been like a complete 180 from 2 years ago.
Yeah. So, you know, try changing the subject just a little bit since we're talking about Destiny. Um, it's a loot shooter, and
Yeah,
I've enjoyed Destiny a little bit. It's just really grindy, but my favorite looter shooter would be Borderlands. What are your
yeah.
opinions on that?
I never got into Borderlands.
Really?
Yeah, and I've gone back since I've played Destiny because I was like, okay, obviously I love Destiny, so clearly I love looter shooters. Let me go and play this looter shooter that literally everybody loves, and I hate it. And I don't know why. I have a thought that it's the gunplay, right? So I'm coming from Bungie gunplay, and their guns feel really good. Like they have like the special sauce for how to make guns feel good in a first person shooter.
Uh huh.
And Borderlands doesn't necessarily have that. And I think that's always what's turned me off is like for some reason the guns just don't feel as fun or as good to use.
The
And
movement is definitely clunky.
yeah, and I think that's what's always thrown me off because I'll fire it up and like for the first couple of hours like I'll have fun and then like I might sign off for the night and I'll have no desire to go back to it. Now I've heard a lot of that has changed in Borderlands 3, and Borderlands 3 has like remedied a lot of those issues. So I think I'm gonna give it another try in September. Um, but yeah, I know I have like no investment in the Borderlands universe right now.
Yeah. So I played it as a kid because when
Yeah,
Borderlands 1 came out, I was in like middle school or high school or whatever. And, so with that said, there might be a little bit of nostalgia, but I definitely see what you mean by like the guns and the movement and stuff just in general. Like the whole mechanics is very clunky. And that's something I was
yeah,
able to look past, but it's definitely there. And, I think with this new one coming out, it should be better. I would imagine. Um, my ideal Borderlands would be Borderlands like the area and all that, but with the movement being more so like Destiny or like Apex.
Oh yeah, Apex is fast. Apex, I think the movement in Apex is really slick. Not as much like I think Destiny does movement a little bit better because it does it on more axes, right? Is like your movement in Apex isn't super vertical.
Yeah.
You're sliding, you're mostly on the ground. Where Destiny, like you can get an aerial game going really well depending on your class, and make some really interesting plays by jumping over people or you know juking people and things like that. But Apex, just the sheer speed that you can close gaps is really fun.
Yeah. I mean, either or, honestly, I'd be okay with. I just don't want. If Borderlands 3 is super clunky movement and gunplay and all that, like the older Borderlands, I don't know how much I can enjoy it.
I know we've been spoiled by some games that have some brilliant movement.
Yeah.
You look back at like Titanfall 2. Like Titanfall 2 was so smooth and so fluid, and like there was so much verticality, and like there were so many different ways to move around the maps. It's going to be hard to bring out a game that feels it feels kind of clunky.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like, but I'm really excited for the new Borderlands. It's like the only game that hasn't been delayed.
Right? I
Like,
mean,
uh,
officially. They didn't announce it until what, 6 months ago.
yeah, it's true. But it's like, so there's a couple games I've been waiting on, and I guess like the leak for um Last of Us 2 they said it was going to be coming out this year. Not them, but
Yeah,
basically all leaks. It's coming out next year now. Animal Crossing was supposed to come out this year. It's coming out next year now.
yeah,
Shimu 3 was supposed to come out like I think this week or next week or something, and now it's delayed a couple months.
Wow.
It's like all the games I'm wanting to play are getting delayed, and Borderlands is just like, nope, this date is solid.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Destiny just recently got delayed like last week, and like, as much as that sucks because I was looking forward to playing it in a couple weeks, I would rather companies delay these games and put out solid experiences as opposed to rushing them out and like having these buggy and broken games released to us and then spending 6 months trying to fix them anyways.
Yeah, 100%. And that's actually something I was going to bring up when we were talking about Nintendo and why their prices stay the same and why I feel confident in buying it. Did you ever play like the Metro games?
Yeah.
So the Metroid 4 that they were going to have, they were going to have this one company do it. I can't remember company name or whatever, but they felt it wasn't up to the Nintendo standard. So they literally scrapped the entire thing. Went with the company that made Metroid Prime 1, I think.
Yep.
And are redoing it. And it's like, I'd much rather wait a little bit, get a solid game, than get these games like No Man's Sky, where it's like, it's crappy for the first 2-3 years, and then we're going to make it better. Just wait the 2-3 years and then release it.
Yeah. That's what everybody was saying about Anthem. Is like Anthem came out as pretty busted. They're like, give it a year, it'll be great. I'm like, then why don't you just wait and release it in a year?
Yeah, it's a very annoying trend within the gaming community, within gaming.
Industry.
Yeah, industry. Could not think of that word for some reason.
Words are hard. It's okay. You're just a podcast. You don't worry about it.
Oh man. Oh man. But yeah, like, what was I trying to say with that though? Yeah, it just seems like so many. Like, when was the last time a game came out that was just solid? Like, from the start, had an amazing launch.
Apex was pretty solid at launch.
Apex was, and then you have the exact opposite issue: is that it was great at launch, but became very stale. They haven't been upgrading everything. And I recently started playing it again a lot, and it's just because of how great of movement and gunplay it has and all. It's fun, but I don't know.
I'll tell you, like I said, Destiny 2 at launch was not good. Like, it was not a good game. Like, they ruined like a good thing that they had in Destiny 1 going into Destiny 2 by casualizing it and making it to try to bring in like more new people.
Yeah.
But at the time, like, there wasn't anything else shooter wise on PC that like I enjoyed playing, like that felt as good to play as Destiny. And even though I had everything, and even though I had done all the raids, I had done everything, there was literally nothing left for me to chase in year one. Like, I would just keep playing just because it was super fun to go shoot people in Destiny. And like, I think a fun game to play could go a lot longer, or like a lot farther than just, a whole bunch of content though too.
Yeah, so you have Apex, which is a solid game, not much content. Then you have Fortnite, which is a lot of content, but the base game is kind of not as good, in my opinion. But it's just kind of weird how that kind of goes.
Fortnite is a weird animal to me.
It really is.
Like, I don't really enjoy playing Fortnite. I gave it another run last weekend to see if like I could get back into it, and I couldn't. Like, it's just not a game for me, and that's fine. But like, I do watch some Fortnite. Like, I watch some streamers play Fortnite, but the people I watch play at a very high level, right? They're like professional tournament type stuff. Like, so the Dr. Lupos, like the Courage JDs, Ninja, like that type of stuff I like to watch. Fortnite played at the highest level is one of the most fascinating things that you'll ever watch.
It's crazy.
There is so much going on in some of those build battles and some of those gun battles that, like, just watching, like, my brain struggles to keep up with what's going on. and I can't imagine like the dexterity, like and the thought processing and like the hand-eye coordination that goes into these guys being able to do some of these things. And so it's like as much as I don't like playing the game, I can't hate on the game because the higher level is like it is a really fascinating game to watch.
That's basically how I feel about it. Like I
Yeah.
whenever Ninja came over to Mixer, I started watching him live from Lollapalooza, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And I've never really watched like professionals play it, and I saw him starting to do it, and someone like the build battles and like the editing. So like
Yeah.
it is nuts
Yeah.
how crazy it gets. It's like I could never be at that level.
No, it's crazy. Like the fact that they're trying to destroy their opponent's wall so that they can replace it with their wall before their opponent puts another one up, just so that they can edit a window into that wall and shoot the bad guy from inside.
Yeah.
Like that type of timing and just like quick movement is just insane. And I have to say, like, I love watching it, but I just don't like playing it.
That's exactly where I'm at. So yeah. Um, there's something you were saying earlier when you were talking about Destiny, and it was sparking something for me to say, but I completely forgot what it was. Not gonna lie. I'm trying to think about what it was because I was talking about like No Man's Sky and how it's only just recently become basically what they were advertising it as years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a big marketing blunder, and I don't know if we'll ever hear the story behind it, and I don't know if it was Sean Murray and Hello Games just kind of building up hype, or if it was because that was one of those games that PlayStation footed the bill for, and I'm sure they had a hand in the marketing, but yeah, I mean they stumbled hard at launch, like especially saying that it was a multiplayer game, even though they knew that it wasn't, and thinking that the community would never find a way to prove them wrong. I'm like, it's the internet. Like if the internet can prove you wrong, they will. And this procedurally generated universe, people found themselves on the same planet as each other and they weren't there.
So what I imagine happened is he must have just been listening to some Ted Howard, and that's how he got that confidence.
Yeah, maybe.
It always amazes me, Bethesda and Ted Howard. So he does all this big talk and stuff, right? And not only that, he is super well aware of it because they had that commercial. I think it was at E3 or I can't remember where it was from, but where they were gonna have Skyrim on Alexa.
Oh yeah.
It's like they are super well aware of what they are doing, and they're doing it anyway.
Oh yeah. They're memeing hard and they're having a good time at it.
Oh man, it is crazy though to me. The whole Bethesda thing with the Fallout
Yeah.
76.
Oh my god, what a mess that was.
And they just kept making it worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, you sometimes you wonder like if these companies really are like this tone deaf or not.
Or if it's just all on purpose and they don't care because the money's coming in regardless.
I mean, press is press, right?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose. I mean, have you even heard of like all of the stuff that was going around with the Fallout 76?
Yeah, I remember them talking about like a whole issue with like the collector's editions and then like the game itself, and yeah, it
After
was
after all that though, so after the nylon bag issues and all that, which was supposed to be canvas, they released this $80 vodka or rum, this rum bottle, $80.
mm,
And you would think, oh, $80, it could be a decent rum or a good collector's edition or whatever, You think
yeah.
it'd be like a nice glass or like a nice metal or something like that. It was plastic.
Wow.
And it was like $5 rum in it. really
Oh my
cheap,
god.
and it and in the pictures you could tell it had like the reflection as if it was glass or metal. Um, so
But it was plastic.
yeah, and then like they go and this one guy had like 900 hours into the game had, and for they I guess they thought he was cheating or whatever, dude, or cheating or whatever, and so they banned him. It's like the one
Yeah,
person
I saw
playing
that.
your game. You banned the one person actually playing your game.
Yeah, I remember seeing that and just being like, could you imagine like being that guy, like and losing all of that time?
I would never touch another Bethesda game again.
Right? Yeah. I'd be like, yep, I'm done with you guys.
Yeah. What I hope is that they let what's who are the ones that did New Vegas?
Oh, I don't even remember.
Um I hope they let the company who did New Vegas make another Fallout, cuz New Vegas is without a doubt the best one.
I don't know that I ever played in New Vegas.
What? Oh
Yeah.
man. New
I
Vegas was
played
so good.
Fallout 3 a bunch, but that's probably like all of the Fallout that I really played.
3 was really good also.
Yeah.
All these people, they hype up Skyrim, but the best Elder Scrolls was Morrowind.
Yeah. No, I definitely enjoyed Morrowind a lot. I don't know why Skyrim ended up getting so hyped up. But yeah, it was Morrowind was great.
Morrowind, without a doubt, is like the best one because I still have that on my original Xbox. And then even Oblivion, I would argue, is better than Skyrim.
I didn't play much of Oblivion. That was the one that I kind of skipped. But I definitely like that being said, like I think I have the most hours in Skyrim because I played it on Xbox and then I rebought it on PC
Yeah.
because I wanted to mod the crap out of it and see if I could break it.
Oh yeah, that's something I did earlier this year. Is I got
Yeah,
Elder
it's
Scrolls
fun.
on PC to mod it. Oh man, that's nuts. The PC modding scene, something. Whenever people say they only play console, one of the first things that comes to mind is all the mods they're missing out on.
Oh my god, I know. I had one where like I modded it so every time a dragon roared in Skyrim, it was Randy Savage and he was just like, "Oh yeah." And it's like I don't know how do you play Skyrim without that mod? I don't understand.
Very carefully. Oh, like I did that with Skyrim. So I bought Skyrim on the PS3, then the PS4, and then PC. I did the exact same thing with GTA 5. GTA 5 got
Yep.
on PS3, PS4, and then PC. Both PC
Yep.
purchases were literally just to mod it.
Yeah. Yep. I bought GTA 5 I bought day 1 on 360 and then I bought the enhanced version when it came out for Xbox One. And then when I bought my PC, I was like, well, I need this on PC now.
Yeah. Is there do you ever get into the Final Fantasy games at all?
I did not. Those games never really grabbed my attention, even when I was younger.
Do you like JRPGs at all, or?
No, I did like even now like RPGs are just like I've kind of gotten out of them. Like
You definitely have to
I
invest a lot of time.
yeah, I think that's like my whole thing in like I invest a lot of time into Destiny and like with having a kid, having a family and a pretty demanding job. Like I don't have time to dedicate major amount of hours into multiple games. So I focus on the games that I enjoy and I play those.
Yeah. That's that's a lot of people though. Like the casual gamer, like basically everyone I work with that does play
Yeah.
games, like they don't want to have to think or invest themselves or anything. They literally just want to hop on and kill some Nazi zombies.
Yeah.
But
And that's why, like I said, that's why I started getting back into Call of Duty. So it's like I need something mindless that I can fire up and I can play for a half an hour without having to think too much time into it.
Yeah. I've been I've been playing World War II a lot, and as as little like I don't know, there's just something about World War II that I just been loving that game so
Really?
much. Gun game is so fun. They
Oh man,
have
I used to love gun game.
gun game on World War II, man. It is so fun because they have some guns on there where you're just dreading it. Like they have an
Oh really?
RPG, and the only way to get a kill with the RPG is to like have it perfectly angled at the perfect distance, or else you're gonna get a hit marker, which is it gets really frustrating. But it's like towards one of the last ones, so
Yeah.
like the adrenaline just kicks in and kicks in and kicks in. Uh, and that's something I'm really wanting for the new Call of Duty is party game modes because those
Yeah.
have always been my favorite go-tos when it comes to Call of Duty. So um like Black Ops 1, you had wager matches where you were betting coins and stuff. If they
Yep.
implemented something like that with a new Call of Duty, like I think that would be pretty fun. Like that and Modern Warfare 3, like the all or nothing, one in the chamber, sticks and stones, all of that is like those that to me is like one of my favorite types of things to do is party game modes.
Yeah, I used to play a lot of those like when I was younger, like probably like in the Call of Duty 4, like up through Ghost standpoint.
Uh-huh.
And it's like now I don't know what it is, but like now it's like just want to play team deathmatch. I'm boring now. I'm an old man.
See, that's I'm like that sometimes. I just want to go into a TDM, mindless. But
Yeah.
when I want some competition, party game modes are some of the best ones.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, I'm just like just take my W key down and give me a submachine gun and just let me run around.
Like with this whole 2v2, I think it'd be really cool if they had a 2v2 one in the chamber.
Oh yeah, that'd be kind of dope.
So, I with this new business that I'm getting into, I was out on the field recording with my new. So I have the Galaxy S10 Plus,
Yeah.
and I was recording video because unless you have like a crazy eye for that kind of thing, it's hard to tell between that and an actual like camera.
Yeah, I think that's the one that Jimmy Fallon filmed like an entire episode of The Late Show on it.
Did he?
Yeah, and like we watched it one night and we couldn't even tell the difference.
That's nuts. But I was recording for like I'd like to say it was like 30 minutes. Just, on of this property and stuff. And I kid you not, that 30 minutes, I'd like to say it was like 30 gigabytes or something like that.
Oh, I would imagine. Yeah, for sure. Depending on what resolution and frame rate you're doing.
Oh, everything was on the highest.
Yeah.
But the phone got so hot. It was crazy.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, it takes a lot of memory for videos.
That's why I
Uh
say like, I gotta remind myself because even when I'm streaming or even when I'm just like regularly gaming, uh, I've always got shadow play running, and if something cool happens, I'll hit a button to save like the last 90 seconds, and I've got to always remind myself to go back and clean those out every once in a while, because otherwise my hard drive just fills up so quick.
I bet. It's crazy the price difference between SSD and HDD.
Oh yeah,
And honestly, I can't tell the difference.
it's come down a lot. Oh, the difference is massive. It's all in read write speeds, right? So I have an SSD for installing my games, and my games will load a lot faster. You notice it a lot, like if you're playing with a friend that has a hard drive. Like I'll load in like probably 30 to 40 seconds faster than some of my friends that don't have the SSD.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's because I don't play PC a whole lot, but I've had HDD and I've had SSD and I've dualed it too, and I've kind of gone back and forth and stuff with it. And just me personally, I don't notice it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it depends a lot on your hardware too. Is like if your cables and your motherboard don't support it, or if you don't have like if there's different types of SSDs. Some of them are faster, some of them are slower. So like a lot of it goes into it, but generally like flash memory like an SSD is going to be a lot faster to read write than an HDD will, just because it's I mean just the sheer fact that the hard drive has to actually spin up. It's an actual disk drive in there.
Yeah. My motherboard probably has something to do with me not being able to tell the difference. I've
Yeah, it
got
could be.
I've got all this brand new stuff, and then I've got this AB350 motherboard,
Oh yeah.
and it's the V1. It's not even like a newer one. It's the base model 350.
I mean, it works though, right?
It does work, just
There you go.
slowly. All right. Well, I've got to do some editing now. But it's been fun talking to you. I appreciate
Dude, it's been a
you
blast, man.
appreciate you coming on, talking for damn near 2 hours, although this podcast is probably going to be a little bit less than that.
Yeah.
So I guess to all the people who are listening, where can they find you at?
You could find me on Twitch, Instagram, and Facebook at RocCityRoller, YouTube at RocCityRoller TV, and Twitter at RocCityRoller1.
All right. Well,
Twitter, I'm pretty active on. I sit on Twitter a lot of the day.
I've been meaning to get on Twitter more. It's just it's a foreign app to me.
Yeah, it was so like up until the point that I started like doing streaming and content creation, like it was pretty foreign to me too. But now it's become a very good source of news and information for me. So it's a pretty good social media.
Yeah, I need to force myself to use it a little bit more. But
Yeah, I think once you kind of force yourself to start paying attention to it and using it, you'll see like the value in it. And now it's like I it's like the only one that I really use on a regular basis.
yeah, see, I stick to like Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
But like I said, if you guys didn't catch that, I will have links down below on whatever you're listening to, whatever platform. And I do appreciate you guys tuning in, and I will see you in the next one.
Later.
Bye bye. Thanks for listening.